If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started. All right, well, let's get started. So this is YouTube for real estate, and in this room, we discuss all things YouTube and video in general as well. So we have our special guest today, Professor Nez. Guys, he's going to blow it up today. Watch. I'm just warning you right now. Pull your pants up, tighten your belt, because it's going to get crazy. We've got Chrissy. Chrissy is our client success manager for the Living in Dallas, Texas team and the Real Agents. And she has been with us since day one. She's actually been with me longer than that, but been with us since day one of the channel. And really complete behind the scenes, keeping all the gears greased on there as well. We have Justin Konikow, one of my favorite real estate agents in the world, and just a really cool guy and the best dressed man in real estate on top of that. So he'll hang out here for about 5 minutes before he leaves, and then we'll never see him again. So appreciate you stopping by.
I'm going to come back. And I'm wearing a flannel shirt with a tie.
Yeah. You're cutting in and out a little bit, but fashion update for Justin. He's usually sporting the flannel shirts or the plaid or the pattern shirts with the tie, always, and the cool sport coats as well. So anyways, my man Nez, are you there, Nez? How are you doing today, brother?
Can you guys hear me okay? Do I sound okay, Levi?
You sound great.
Fantastic. I am not wearing a flannel, but I'm definitely wearing pants. I just want to be very clear about that.
Okay, awesome. Well, good. Let's get this started, guys. So what I want to do is I want to go a little back and forth with my man Nez today for just a couple of questions, and then open it up to Q&A with the audience. So guys, go ahead and raise your hand. Feel free to come up on stage. We got a lot of our friends in here, and I tell you what, this is going to be jam-packed. I want to give you a little backstory on Professor Nez, one of my favorite people, because when I first came into Clubhouse, and this goes back to something that I've always said, is that I believe you can hyper-learn a subject within about 30 to 60 days. So if you're not where you're at in your business or your life, I believe it's just because you haven't learned something yet, but not that you just haven't learned it. You need, once you learn that, you have to apply it. But at the same time, if you take massive action with all the information that's out there this day and age, with blogs, with YouTube, with books, everything. I mean, every subject you could possibly want to learn about, there's probably somebody that has done something very similar or been very successful in that field. And so if you study who's at the top, what are they doing? How did they get there? How can you model it? How can you adjust it to fit your personality? And then maybe can you even do better than them? I believe that's what really leads people down the path of success. So when I wanted to learn YouTube and I jumped in here in Clubhouse just right at the 1 year mark, or just over a year ago, I didn't go into any real estate rooms. I just didn't, because I found YouTube rooms, and I found there was a lot more. I feel like the YouTube rooms are kind of fading away, except for this one. But there was a lot of YouTube rooms on at the time, and that's where I spent the first 2 to 3 months on Clubhouse. Never, ever ventured into a real estate room, really. I wanted to learn the craft. I wanted to learn the platform. I wanted to meet, creators and people that have already been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I just wanted to absorb as much information as possible. And to me, it was like a 24/7 live customer service line that I could call. I could jump on here and there was a YouTube room open, or I knew when all the regular ones were scheduled, and I could just ask questions. And the cool thing about Nez has always been very generous from the beginning, and he is really responsible for, and I've seen this on a lot of banners now, but if you look on our channel art and our channel banner, you see a picture of the United States and, cars, trucks, and planes, trains, and automobiles basically coming in from California, New York, and Illinois. And that was a conversation with Nez on Clubhouse whenever he kind of looked at my channel one day, and we were just talking shop back and forth, and he was like, Levi, I think you need to paint a better picture than what I had. I don't even remember what I had up there before, but he said, I think you just need to paint a better picture and a visual on that channel art, and so that became a staple. And of course, he's helped me with many other things, but right now as it stands, Nez is one of the you could say an OG of YouTube. He's right now sitting on one channel over 16,000 subscribers, over 1 million views. That was started sometime around 2016, 2017. But here's the key is that he recently started a new channel, and within the first 13 months, because of his experience, because of his knowledge, because of his grind on the platform for the last 8 years, really dug in and put a plan in place before starting this new channel. And this is, we'll kind of talk a little bit about the parameters of that today too. But here's the thing. He had the experience, had the knowledge, but at the same time put a plan in place. And this is something we've always talked about as well, is that if you treat YouTube like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat YouTube like a business, it'll pay you like a business. And so now that he had the years of experience, instead of just, oh, let me just start another channel, start a channel, very specific about what he wanted to do, the goals he wanted to accomplish, how to target a specific audience. And that's key as well. We talk about that in real estate. And so now that channel at 13 months old is right at 10,000 subscribers, or about to break 10,000 subscribers, and over 3 million views. And this is something we talk about all the time, people, is that video is the true opportunity to compound your time. And really, when I look at Nez's second channel, is compound your knowledge, because of what he was able to do, and because of all of the back work that he put into it, able to launch a second channel and surpass. Think about that, surpassing your original channel in view counts. That's pretty significant. So I think that speaks a lot to, learning the craft, mastering the craft, continually being a student of the game, and also just working towards, your goals as far as what you want to accomplish, and then having that target audience in mind. And so it's my pleasure to introduce to you Professor Nez. And he's a joy to talk to as well. So guys, get ready. He'll fire you up as well. How you doing, Nez? Did I miss anything?
Holy macadamia nut. Can I hire you to just like do intros for me for the rest of my life?
I don't know. I'm,
Jeez
I'm pretty
Louise.
expensive.
I don't even, that's true. And you should be. You're worth it. I don't even think I have anything else to add. I'll see you guys later. Have a great morning. No, I'm
Yeah, there
kidding.
you.
Um, no, dude, that was phenomenal. And yeah, I think you touched upon, and that's not even counting everything that Levi said is just beautiful and perfectly put. That doesn't even count, what we're doing on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels. That same brand new channel has over 30,000 followers on Facebook, and we're actually earning more money on Facebook, even though I know this room is about YouTube. One thing that I would advocate to everybody listening, that little thing that you have in your pocket right now that you're probably listening to this clubhouse on, is the most powerful instrument and tool for your brand and business, period. And guys, this is only the beginning. Levi knows how much I love YouTube. Levi has leveraged YouTube better than anybody I know in this vertical. And, this is just the beginning. YouTube is only 15 years old. I mean, you look at all these other companies. How old is Apple? How old is Sony? How old is IBM, Pac Bell? How old is JP Morgan? This is just the beginning. The creator economy is absolutely exploding. And if you know exactly who you need to deliver to, if you know exactly what's inside their noggin, their brain, and what they want, you will win. I'm earning multiple six figures, multiple businesses online. We can talk about all the other things that we're doing, that is the other producing other arteries for our business, that YouTube is creating all these navigation and avenues and revenue streams that we never imagined. I'm nothing special. Levi made me sound like $1 trillion, but I'm here to tell everybody listening, please heed this. There's nothing even original about me. There's nothing special about me. I just put in the work, and I know exactly where the eyeballs and earballs are, AKA attention. And if you understand that, YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, that is the mainstream, that NBC, ABC, the Los Angeles Times, etc., that is the past. If you understand that, the sky's the limit. So I'm so stoked, so pumped. I'm honored to be here. I mean, Levi has all the knowledge in the world. I'm just here to compliment and add value where I can. So thank you so much for having me, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nez. So again, this room, I know you know this, but just most in here are in the real estate space, and they're either starting out or about to get started on their channels as well. So I would just say, let's start off with your first few tips for the brand new creators. What are a couple of things that, one, two, or three things that you would say, hey, okay, what really helped you on this second channel that you knew now versus what you didn't know back then? And if somebody's starting out on their first channel, you're like, wow, this really helped me out get started on the second channel. Could you kind of talk to a couple of things that along those lines? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. It makes sense. And gosh, where do I even start? Levi, you said it best. It took me, I think it took Mr. Beast something like 7 years to get to 10,000 subscribers on his channel. And he's the number one YouTuber in the world. He's about to cross 100 million subs. And across all his platforms, he's got over 200 million followers. So think about that. You guys know, you in the real estate business, you guys know that this is not something that's going to happen overnight. You guys understand what it takes to run a business. The reason our second channel is so successful is exactly what Levi said. We put in the time, the work, we failed over and over and over again. And hopefully, all the mistakes that I made, you can avoid. So, the number one thing that I would do if I'm starting a brand new channel, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times before, but number one, don't make it about you, make it about them. Who is it that you are trying to serve? What is your objective? Are you trying to accrue clients, sales, customers? Are you trying to establish a personal brand? Are you trying to be a thought leadership in the real estate industry? Are you trying to teach other agents and brokers, what this game is all about? Understand exactly who, demographically and psychographically, exactly who you want to serve. And if you start with that as your compass, the rest really takes care of itself, and you can build the plane while you're flying it. You don't have to be a videographer. You don't have to be Steven Spielberg. You don't have to know everything about lighting, audio, editing, etc. That thing that you're listening to this broadcast, this clubhouse room on, is all you need. I wish to God, I'm 45 years old. If I would have had this technology before I was married, before I had kids, before I had a million obligations, I'd be a multiple trillionaire billionaire. I know that for a fact because nobody works harder than I do. And I'm telling you right now, you have everything you need in your back pocket. You have everything you need right now. If you know who you're going to serve, don't upload anything until you know exactly who you want to serve and what your objective is. If you start with that, the rest will take care of itself. Your messaging, your delivery, your execution, your branding, etc. It starts with the audience. What I made the mistake with my first channel is I didn't take YouTube seriously. And YouTube really wasn't a thing 8 years ago. It really wasn't, especially what it is now. And so I thought it was all about me. I thought I had to talk about what I'm good at. I thought I had to talk about how cool I was. I thought people were interested in that. I thought that was the way to build the brand. Couldn't be further from the truth. Serve, serve, serve. Know exactly who these people are, your clients, your customers, etc. You need to dig into their chest, know what makes them tick, and you will win the click. And we can talk about, sort of micro details and get granular as far as titles and thumbnails, etc. But the overarching thing is make it all about them. If you start there, I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess what I'll tag on to that, Nez, is what I like to say is that in the beginning, if you optimize for the algorithm and then you optimize for the audience. Now, this is a longstanding debate on between Nez and I as far as search versus browse and where does the traffic come from. But I believe kind of like just what he said is your audience. And I like the analogy of I believe that YouTube is the desert. Now the desert is vast, right? The desert is large. It takes up a lot of space. And if you make it about you, then it's almost like you have 50 gallons of water, which is all of your information, all of your content. But if you sit in one place in the desert and you just hoard it all and you keep it to yourself and you make it about you, then you have to wait until people wandering through the desert actually find you. And that's going to be one by one, and that's going to take time and a lot of time. Not that you can't do that, but it does take a lot of time. But if you have GPS coordinates to where there's 50, 100, 150 people sitting under a bunch of palm trees for shade, and you walk over to them with your 50 gallons of water, they're thirsty and they want the water, but you go and find them because you know who you're serving and you know exactly where they are. So to me, that is in the beginning, it is knowing who you serve, but also if creating some content around search because you know that people are already looking for that. Now, as you get to know your audience and develop more of an audience, then you optimize, for the audience. It's kind of like my little formula there. So I think that's absolutely correct, and 100% is you want to understand your audience and who are you trying to serve. And so that's something where real estate agents also get into trouble, I believe, in the beginning, is creating channels that commingle information, which is real estate agent related information versus client related information. If you're trying to attract clients on your channel, you should have a client driven channel. If you're trying to attract real estate agents, then you should have a real estate agent driven channel. And if you want to do both, you should have two different channels. It's two completely separate audiences. But I think you run the risk that if you have real estate agent related information on your channel, like day in the life of a real estate agent, or information to help real estate agents, I don't know, pass an exam or something like that. If I'm a client and that's the first video I find on your channel, I'm going to say, well, this channel is not for me, even though you may have client driven channel or client driven content on that channel, or vice versa. If I'm an agent and I find client driven information or content and I'm looking for real estate agent information, I'm going to say this is probably not the channel for me. So just something to keep in mind. But so Nez, how do you, let me see, what really also, what was it about this second channel on top of that? I know you did a lot of audience research in the beginning. Can you kind of speak to how you really defined your audience or your avatar? How did you do that research? I mean, what did you look at? Can you kind of share a little bit of that? Is that okay?
Oh, of course. And let me just also say this too. A lot of people might be, kind of thinking, down below, well, what does he mean by search traffic, home, browse, etc.? That's kind of granular. We can talk about that. There's no doubt about it, and Levi is emblematic of this. There's no doubt about it that YouTube is the second largest search engine on planet Earth. And you need to utilize search. The deal is that when you're doing search, my biggest fear is this. You create titles based all around keywords and they're not humanized. I don't care how good your SEO is. Like Levi is a master at this. But I don't care how good your SEO is. I don't care how good your keyword research is. I don't care how good your search engine optimization is. A human being still needs to click on your video. So that's why I think sometimes there's this, I think sometimes there is this debate, what's better, search traffic or browse traffic? And we can talk about that. But let me answer your question, Levi, because it's such a good question about the second channel. Yeah, I think just to make this simplified, everybody listening right now, because we did 2 years of audience research before we uploaded one video. You don't have to do this, but we really wanted to make sure this was successful. And I kind of did that inadvertently as well. I would look at 10 channels that are similar to yours, 10 channels that are crushing it. Levi might be one of those channels. As a matter of fact, if you're not looking at Levi's channel, I think you're doing yourself a great disservice. Look at 10 channels, okay, 15, 20 maybe, but let's start with 10. Look at 10 channels that are doing exactly what you want to do in your specific niche. So if you want to create a channel about real estate that augments your personal brand, communicates thought leadership, gives yourself brand equity. So when people see that, video is visual. Video is the most powerful form to get your energy across. I don't know about you guys. I've been running businesses since I was 13. I don't hire, I don't buy based on how good the product is, or how many credentials this individual has, or how many degrees this individual has. Everything I do is based on energy. If I like your energy, you're in. Nothing communicates energy like video. So here's the power of video. Don't think you have to be the number one expert. Don't think that you have to know everything there is to know about real estate, about selling homes, about whatever type of vertical you're in. You just have to communicate value. And what I would do is look at 10 channels that achieve what you want to achieve or aspire to achieve, and examine them with a fine comb. Analyze, analyze, analyze. Why are people clicking on their videos? What are they doing in the first 30 seconds? What calls to action do they have? How are they ending their videos? What's their pacing like? Their energy, their editing? What are they talking about? What's the substance of their videos? How are they communicating their brand? Communication is everything in real estate. You guys know this. It's all about communication, right? I don't care if you have the best home on the market, the best company on the market. If you can't get that across, it means squadoosh, right? So look at 10 channels on YouTube that are doing exactly what you would aspire to do and want to do and want to achieve, and examine them. And then obviously you don't want to copy them, but use them as examples. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a saying, right? Nothing new under the sun. I said it at the outset of this room. There's nothing even original about Professor Nez. I just know exactly where I need to go. And so it's like, use that as a directive, use that as a map quest, if you will, to help guide you where you need to go with your content, and then do it in your own unique style. You're not copying them, you're delivering it in your own unique style, adding your spin to it. Does that make sense? I mean, I can go a little deeper. I don't want to pontificate, Levi.
No, perfect. No, you're right on track. And again, guys, if you don't mind, go ahead and if you're finding value in this, please feel free to share the room down below. That definitely helps gets the word out. And then also, any questions, guys? We want to open this up. So anybody want to come on stage, and or just jump in the discussion as well. And I know I see a lot of good friends down there, so don't be shy. Go ahead and jump up here, and then if you have any questions for Nez. So no, absolutely. I think that's really great. That just ties right into my little simple formula for success, right? Who's at the top? What are they doing? How did they get there? How can I model that? How can I adjust it to fit my personality? And then I do think, how can I be better? What things can I do differently? So that's a great point, because again, putting in that research now, like Nez said, absolutely. I think none of us in this room have 2 years. Now, the thing is Nez had significant, or he was, earning full-time incomes from his other businesses as well. So he just took time to really study that out. Nez, why 2 years? That does seem like a really long time to me. So why
Yeah.
not 6 months? Why not 3 months? Why
You know
two
what?
years?
I don't think that's the wise course of action. This was such a passion project for my wife and I. It's actually a channel that my wife and I started, and our very first upload was January 23rd of 2021, and we passed 10,000 subscribers yesterday, and more importantly, over 3 million views. And this channel and brand is crushing it all over, on multiple platforms. And we're selling merchandise. We're doing affiliate. We're doing everything that everybody listening to this should do. And so the reason we took so long is because we were very reticent to enter this vertical. It's a super, super hyper niche. We didn't even think, we were very hesitant and apprehensive, which I'm sure a lot of people listening to this probably feel the same way. It's like, maybe you're not comfortable on camera. You're not comfortable, putting yourself out there. There's a lot of imposter syndrome, fear of failure, et cetera, et cetera. But we wanted to make sure, because I'd been on YouTube for 8, 10 years, we wanted to make sure that we did it right. And so we didn't want to do things haphazardly. Now, what I would advocate is, especially since short form content is so huge now, because the beautiful thing about you guys in the real estate business, you are natural born communicators. You are naturally very gifted at putting yourself out there. You're naturally gifted at coming across as real, genuine, and naturalistic. Take out your phones and practice. Take out your phones. One of my biggest, I see this all the time because I love real estate. I probably should have been a real estate agent. I really mean this. I'm fascinated by this industry. I think it's fantastic, and not only is there a ton of money to be made, but you're dealing in transactions that are life changing. These are life changing transactions for families, individuals, etc. It's a life changing thing. So the biggest thing, a peeve I have, when I see these real estate brokers and agents online, they're selling. They act very mechanical and rigid. You don't have to sell anything. Don't sell anything. Just absolutely be capital R real. That's the only criteria. I promise you, if you're just real, instead of doing this, for example, hi, I'm Joe. I have a home that is 3,000 square feet with 3 bedrooms. I'm already asleep. I'm already asleep, right? Be natural. And I think this is a big misnomer. A lot of people think you have to be a sort of, you have to be this sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? That late night infomercial kind of style, right? Of delivery. Don't sell anything. Demonstrate. You're not selling. You're demonstrating. You're three-dimensionalizing who you are. Your degrees, your credentials, all your accomplishments are two-dimensional. Video three-dimensionalizes you. There's nothing on planet Earth that communicates your energy, and energy is your ultimate currency. And so what I would say is, instead of saying, hi, I am Joe, and here's my 4 bedroom, etc., I would say, you guys are going to love this. Start with this. You guys are going to love this. Come with me. Walk with me. Check this out. Oh my God. This is the dopest house. I'm so pumped. I can't wait to show you this. Start with that. Be natural. Be real. Take out your phone. Don't worry about audio. Don't worry about camera. Don't worry about being Steven Spielberg. Execute, execute. You can build the plane while you're flying it.
I love that. A sell is made when there is a transfer of enthusiasm, and you can absolutely transfer enthusiasm
Bravo.
over video.
Bravo. I
Yep.
love that.
And you have, and all video is sales at scale. And I love the fact that Nez says is that, we are communicators. Our whole business is communicating, and it's communicating with the buyers. It's communicating with the sellers. It's communicating with the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the title company, the mortgage officer, everybody. We have to communicate to get that message across. But ultimately in this market right now, Nez, I'm sure in your market too, the real estate is crazy. It is a bloodbath out there. And this
Oh, it's
market will,
nuts. It's
yeah,
nuts.
it'll make or break you. And so what are the ways we are winning homes is through communication with listing agents on the buy side. But all video is sales at scale. So this is what I ask agents all the time is, you're doing it already. When you're showing homes or selling a home or listing a home, you're having that conversation. And now let me ask you this. The thing is though, every time you have that conversation in person with somebody, that conversation lives and dies with that one person. So you have a choice. You can have that same conversation. And if you do that on camera, now you have the opportunity to reach 50, 100, 1,000, maybe even 40,000 people, even more than that, with that same conversation. You're just having a conversation with the camera. And everyone says, man, Levi, you're so natural. And it's because I've been in the sales game. I understand sales and I understand communication. And all I did was adjust it to have that conversation with the camera. The camera is now the person that I'm sitting across the table right now. Actually, there's a camera sitting across the table from me right now because we're repurposing all of this content. This will go on Reels. This will go on TikTok. This will go on our podcast. This will go everywhere. Why? Because I can sit here for 1 hour and I can make hours and hours and hours of content from this 1 hour and I can make multiple pieces of content to feed every single platform because I understand the scalability of that. But if I sat here on Clubhouse and just had this conversation with Nez, as soon as we hang up here on Clubhouse, the conversation's over, right? I mean, it's done. And so I
And
just make,
guys,
go ahead.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Levi.
No, you're right. I mean, it's just a choice, that's all it is. Go for it, Nez.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just wanted to, I got so excited to hear what you said. You guys, listen to this. Please, everybody, listen to this. You can actually take out your phone. You can actually record a 1 minute video, etc., and you can reach the world. When, in any time in the history of mankind, have you been able to do that? And now that everybody is purchasing online, now that online real estate, especially people are buying homes online all the time, especially investors, right? I would imagine. I'm not too familiar with the industry. I will be transparent about that. But the fact that you can literally reach millions with just a click of a button, I would have killed for this. I'm one of the last generations, I think, that actually lived before this thing called the internet was around. Even though I was building websites in 1996 and 8, I remember what business was like before this thing called the internet. I remember doing, mail marketing, snail mail, passing out flyers, putting in print ads in the local paper. I mean, I remember what that was like. You can reach people while you sleep now. And this is just the beginning. If you're not pouncing on YouTube, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. You need to do it's almost like there is no wow, this is awesome. It's a necessity. It is a business necessity in 2022. And this is just we're at the precipice. This is only the beginning.
Yeah, I love that. Wow. Chrissy, are you still there? Are you still hanging out with us? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Did you want to jump in here? Did you have any questions for Nez or any comments or anything you'd like to add into everything we've kind of covered so far?
Kind of going back to what you were saying about, there's a human on the other side of it, maybe dive a little bit more, if you could, into like when we're doing titles and things on YouTube, how do we marry those two things? More of the catchy title that still people, but also using the keywords and making it, optimized at the very, very top of, our abilities. How would you say to marry those two things?
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Chrissy. Absolutely. And this takes an exorbitant amount of practice and an exorbitant amount of failure. I've failed a million times with this, but all you need to do, right? I mean, you just need to succeed that one time. So I'll give you a perfect case study, right? And I love Levi, and I know Levi talks a lot about search, and search is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but if you understand the platform where 3/4 of the views come from the homepage, okay? And the homepage is that very first page when you log into YouTube. It's that, large page where YouTube delivers videos based on your watch history, based on videos you've seen prior, and it's recommending content to you. That is like, being on, Madison Avenue, having a storefront, in prime real estate, pun intended, right? Having prime real estate for your business is on that homepage. You're competing. Your video is shown. Your thumbnail and title is shown on that page. So, for example, if you're doing, if you're doing a video about the first thing that just popped in my head is Microsoft Windows, right? That's a keyword, right? Microsoft Windows. But if your video just says Microsoft Windows, right, and there's nothing else in your title, why would anybody click on that, right? But if you said something like this, Chrissy, and everybody listening, if your title was, "This is going to make your life a million times easier using Microsoft Windows," I'm going to be like, whoa, what is this? What do they mean by this, right? Instead of talking about a specific piece of real estate and just using the keyword, let's say real estate in Dallas, think about those emotional triggers. This is emotional narrative storytelling, right? And it's sales, it's marketing. You got to create that incentive. Why should they click? Don't give away the punchline before they click on the video. You have to think about the psychology. This is why it's so important to dive deep into your audience. What's going to make them click? If you're moving to Dallas, if you're thinking about moving to Dallas, you need to watch this first and have a very dramatic, maybe, thumbnail that has a giant question mark with something blurred out, right? This is called curiosity marketing. Incentivize your audience. What's going to make them want to click? Don't get me wrong. Keyword research, right? I think optimizing your videos for search, and every channel is different too. I want to really caveat that. And I always consider myself an eternal learner. I'm by no stretch of the imagination an expert on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for decades, but I'm still learning, and the algorithm's always changing. But I will say this: it doesn't matter how good or how amazing your video is. If they don't click, it doesn't mean anything. So that's where the psychology and curiosity marketing comes in. Instead of just saying, hey, if you're moving to Dallas, watch this, say, hey, if you're even thinking about moving to Dallas, if you have thoughts about moving to Dallas, if you don't know this, you're missing out. What is that this? What does he mean? What do they mean by this? Creating that allure, I think, is much more powerful. Does that make sense at all, Chrissy? I'm happy to go deeper on that.
Yeah, absolutely. That totally answered my question. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great explanation there. So, let's jump over to Deborah. Deborah, how are you doing? Would you like to briefly introduce yourself and then ask a question or comment or contribution for Professor Nez?
Good morning, and thank you for having him on. I've learned so much already. My question would be, should you hire a videographer too, or should you just try and do it yourself? I know, Real Estate All Day put out a list of items to buy, and, kind of when you're outside, do you suggest getting a videographer or equipment, or, what do you suggest in that area? Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Deborah. I love this question. And, I always say this, it really just comes down to budget. If you have the budget to invest in a videographer, by all means, do it. Why go through the frustration? Why go through, another bottleneck of learning how to do editing, learning how to do, because I do everything myself. I'm very stubborn that way. My wife keeps telling me, hire somebody to do this, hire a videographer, hire an editor. I'm just stubborn that way. And I like my videos to have my personal stamp on them, right? And so, I would say, first of all, if you can do it yourself, you've got everything you need in your phone. You've got all the greatest camera and audio in your phone, and make it and really simplify in the beginning. If you have the budget and you have the means and you can make professional videos, by all means do that. But here's the thing, because I do a lot of Facebook advertising, YouTube advertising, I'm in the advertising marketing space as well. What we found, Deborah, especially with real estate, is that the more like unprofessional the production is, when I say unprofessional, I don't mean you're not professional, but what I mean it's not so produced and not so polished and not so, commercially, if that makes sense. I don't even know if that's an adjective. We found that engagement skyrockets. The more shakiness in your video, the more naturalistic and realistic your video is, we find engagement skyrockets because it's more personal. My wife and I are also Amazon influencers. So we have a very burgeoning business on Amazon video. Amazon pays us to do videos for products, right? Product reviews. We use our phones. I mean, sometimes I'll use my 4K Sony ZV-1, but most of the times we're just using our phone. And so start with what you have, but by all means, most of you guys are business owners because being a real estate agent and broker is a business, right? If you have the means, I would say by all, do it, because that just creates less friction. And the more that you can be you, doing client relationship management, reaching out, showing homes, et cetera, whatever is the least amount of friction for your business, and you can streamline that, I would recommend it. That's just my point.
Thank you. And it's funny you say that because I did hire a videographer to take a couple, to do a couple, and it was weird. The ones that I didn't, those got no views. But the ones that I did myself, which I thought were really bad, got the most. So you're so right when you said that. So thank you.
I love the way you said that, Deborah. And I know we're running out of time, but I have to say this, guys. The dude inside your head is your biggest enemy. What do I mean by that? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Every single one of you listening right now, replay viewers, and you're here live. The dude inside your head is your number one impediment. It's that dude that lives inside every human being who says, "You suck. This isn't good. Who do you think you are? You think you can sell homes? You think you can be a top real estate broker or agent?" Everybody has that dude that lives inside your head. I am giving you carte blanche, and I am imploring you to fire that dude immediately. I can't tell you, Deborah, how many times that dude has stopped me from creating videos, creating content that has been the engine for my multiple businesses because I let that dude win. How many times the audience, exactly to your point, Deborah, how many times the audience has said, "Nez, I love that video." And I look to my wife quizzically and go, "Dude, that video sucked. How do they like this video? This video is garbage." That's me. That's me. That's the dude inside my head who's telling me it's garbage. So here's to wrap it up. Let the audience dictate. Let the audience dictate. Put it out there. If it fails, guess what? You can always hit delete, which I wouldn't recommend you do, or just create another video. Move forward. Keep going. Thank you, Deborah. That's so good.
Yeah, thank you for that, Nez. And we want to move over to Robin, but I will say on my side, my opinion on that is do not hire a videographer in the beginning. They're very expensive. I think you can shoot it yourself with an iPhone, but I also believe that you do need to hire editing services in the beginning. Editing is different from videography. And in my opinion, it's not, if you're looking at this from a business owner standpoint, it's not in your best interest to learn how to edit. I would have quit after the first video and would have never gotten to where I got if I would have tried to do that in the beginning. So I don't believe it's the best use of your time as a real estate agent. You should be creating content and negotiating contracts. Everything else, you can really sub that stuff out. Now, it does depend on budget, but what I like about a video editing budget is it's a fixed cost. And if you stay consistent with YouTube, every single person that we've helped or worked with tends to generate business right around 90 to 120 days. And so that will absolutely, and any home, you could sell a $300,000, a $200,000 home, and that would cover the cost of video editing for over the last few months. So you could easily cancel it out. And then once you build the momentum, you're going to have that budget. It's something that I put in place from the very beginning. And editing is different from videographer. A videographer is going to be the most expensive, and that's going to be something that's difficult for people with a smaller budget in the beginning. But if you can work out an editing budget, and then also, we did this with no marketing budget, no advertising. We did everything organic through YouTube. So I also believe the consistency will allow you to pick that up, that you don't have to worry about marketing or spending marketing budget on other things. Now, it also depends on where you're at financially. So everything that I say, always take with a grain of salt, and it all depends on your exact situation. When I started, I was okay financially. I had my cushion. I wasn't worried about that. I budgeted for editing services because I knew that was not I had zero skills in that. And trying to learn that was not something I was wanted to do. I wanted to focus on creating as much content as possible, to put out as much as possible, and to stay consistent as possible. And I didn't want to be bogged down with that. So that would be my recommendation on that side of it. And so with that, I want to move over to Robin. Also, if you want to talk to our team about that opportunity, I pinned the link at the top as well. If you are looking for that, some sort of editing services, that's something that we do offer, and it's our team that does all of our content. And so you also have zero coaching to do or zero training, because they already know how to do everything. But you can schedule a call if that's something you want to talk about. But I want to jump over to Robin. Robin, how are you? And do you have a question, comment, or contribution for Professor Nez today?
I sure do. Thank you so much for hosting this room. I have started my YouTube channel and very novice. So I'm interested a little bit more about the avatar and how you really unpack the specific details of your niche. So, for example, I am looking to scale into a higher price point um, to get into that avatar. My assumption is that I have to associate with things that that particular avatar would be interested in doing, be interested in seeing, things of that nature. But I was just curious kind of what your criteria are in so far as that's concerned. And like, do you do that for each niche? Like, do you have a set of criteria? So that is my question.
Yeah, I love this question, Robin. And just to put it very simply in YouTube terms, yes, for first of all, yes, for every single niche, whatever vertical you're in, it's just tantamount to your success to know who you're serving, to know everything about these people. When I say demographically and psychographically, I don't just mean their income, their age, their background, their ethnicity. That's what I call the quantified data. But the qualitative data is the psychographics. What do I mean by psychographics? Who are these people? What are their interests? What are their behaviors? What are their patterns? What problems do they have? What challenges do they have? And how can you be a solution? So in YouTube terms, when we talked about going to like the top 10 channels in your specific niche, whether it's cooking, whether it's knitting, whether it's real estate, business, investment, finance, whatever, look at those top 10 channels. Pay very close attention. I want to get very specific. I don't want to just give macro, nebulous help. Go pay attention to the comments. The comments are filled with golden nuggets. Listen and pay attention. Listen and pay attention. Don't talk. No need to comment. Listen and pay attention. Listening is your ultimate tool in business. Paying attention is your ultimate tool in business. What are people talking about? What's the conversation? What are people saying about the video? What are their complaints about the video? What questions are they posing? That to me is absolute gold. It shocks me, by the way, how many content creators, how many YouTubers, and I know you can't respond to all of them for some channels, but if you're 10K and under, as far as subscribers go, and you're not responding to all the comments, I don't know. I think that's a real big misstep. And you can conduct polls on your channel too, Robin. I do this all the time. I'm telling you right now, Robin, and everybody listening, there is not one video that we publish where it's not 99% dictated by what my audience wants. I will literally do polls in this beautiful thing called the community tab. You have this beautiful thing on YouTube called the community tab. I literally ask them directly, what are you guys interested in? What video would you like to see next on the channel? What problem are you facing right now? What are your number one challenges? What are your pain points? What's frustrating you right now? When you're looking for homes, when you're looking to purchase homes, what are the top 5 things you look for that gives you a yes? Things like that. Like, what's the number one blockade from you going out and closing a deal and actually purchasing a home? What is that number one blockade? I'd love to hear from you. And I'm telling you right now, like, the people, your audience loves to help. Your audience loves that. Actually does two things. Number one, you're getting valuable data. Number two, you're creating real engagement and you're showing your audience that you care. And if they see that you care, views go up the roof, subscribers go up the roof. Subscribers are not as important as views and engagement. Views and engagement is everything. You can have I've seen channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers and they're making six figures a year. It's all about targeting. It's all about community engagement. It's all about interacting, being there for them. Service mindset. So you can go directly to your audience, Robin. Ask them, don't be afraid to talk to these people. These are your viewers. This is your audience. These are your customers. These are your clients. There's a reason why when I leave the dealership, when I get my car serviced, I always get that survey. We want to know what your experience was like, what worked, what didn't work. You need to do that for your channel as well. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I love that. I think one of the things that I'm doing right now is just polls on Instagram and Facebook and that sort of thing. So that is that's helping me to generate uh, things to talk about on my YouTube channel. So I'm definitely just soaking all of this great information up. So thank you guys so much for hosting.
And
Moderator
guys,
from Connecticut, I'm done talking. Thanks.
oh, thank you. Sorry about that, Robin. Yeah, and by the way, utilize LinkedIn. Everybody listening to this, company decision makers eat, sleep, and breathe on LinkedIn. These are executives. These are the people who make the decisions at their companies. These are the people who earn serious money, reside on LinkedIn. I can't tell you how valuable. I do polls on LinkedIn. I do polls on Twitter. I do polls on Instagram. I do polls on TikTok. As a real estate agent, if you're not utilizing TikTok and YouTube Shorts, I don't even know who you are. I mean, that's like, I mean, that you need to get into that yesterday, like yesterday. So thank you, Robin. I really love what you just said there. And it's such an important question and something I wish I would have known when I first started. How deep you can go into your audience, dig into those comments, ask questions to directly to your audience, and it doesn't just have to be on YouTube. It can be on other platforms. Well done.
Well, and if I can say something too, just to add to that, another thing for those of us that, we have a lot of agents on here who are just even thinking about making a YouTube channel and maybe you don't have an audience yet. One thing that we do is we go to our competing channels from time to time and we'll go and look at their comment section and see what they're not answering with on their
That's
end.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yep. That and also looking at Google's FAQs for your area. Those are the top searched questions for your area. So make a video with that exact title and you've already got an audience.
Dropping knowledge. Robin, you're dropping wisdom grenades. I love it.
That was Chrissy Nez.
I
Hey guys, you're
apologize.
his
Chrissy,
client.
Chrissy, I apologize. Sorry about that. Chrissy, you're all dropping knowledge. I love it.
Yeah. All good. All right. So Nez, we got about 7 minutes left with you. So we've got two more people on the stage that I want to make sure we get to both of them. And Ron's coming up next as far as the order I see. So Mr. Ron, how you doing today?
Levi, I'm good. I'm here in your backwoods here in Dallas, Texas, and I'm on the other side of the transaction. So I'm a residential loan officer, and you know I have a video series that I've created called "Carving Out Your Own Slice of Texas," and the way that I have it set up, Nez, is that I will meet with a particular agent. We'll go around. We'll look at 3 or 4 homes, and I'm basically having them walk through the property and point out 2 or 3 highlights of the property. So we show the audience, so people that are looking to buy 1 home or 200 homes, so basically how to acquire a real estate portfolio in Texas. So we talk about the sizzle, right? So showing them the opportunity. And then we go back and we kind of go back into a roundtable discussion. And so we talk about, showing the property, and then we go back and we talk about how they can acquire that, right? So we look at financing strategies and all of that. So I've released it as a series where every single day I'm posting new videos, and these videos can be anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute, because I created it for Reels, as well as YouTube Shorts. And then the roundtable discussions tend to be a little bit longer. So those could be 10 minutes, they could be 12 minutes, depending. So my goal, I release it every single day, and I basically take a whole day's worth of videos and chop it up into 30 different videos that I just release over the next month. So my question is, um, in addition to categorizing it with playlists on YouTube, I'm getting pretty good engagement with the shorts, but my longer videos, I just don't have a lot of views on them. And I went back and I re-optimized them and made sure I had all the keywords and, made sure that I have everything talking about those particular areas and loaded up the description and basically reworked the SEO. But just with your knowledge, is there anything else I could be doing to increase the views and engagement with that series?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Titles and thumbnails. Your thumbnails need to really incentivize people to click. And then if your videos are too long, if you're not getting good retention, YouTube wants two things. And I think Levi talked about this. Is knowing what the platform wants, and then knowing what you want, right? Understanding your objectives, and then understanding the platform's objectives. YouTube wants two things. YouTube wants people to click on a video and watch and stay. That's all they want. So the longer that people stay and are satisfied, YouTube wants people to be happy. YouTube wants viewers to be satisfied with their viewing experience. Before 2013, there was a ton of clickbait, and YouTube just looked at views as the barometer for recommending content. Now they've gotten a lot more sophisticated. Now it's all about retention, watch time, and now what is the quality of that watch time? They're doing a lot of satisfaction surveys, and they're trying to figure out and go deeper. The algorithms are getting so smart. They're trying to go deeper into their avatar, their ideal viewer, trying to figure out what makes them want to stick around, what makes them want to have a good experience on the platform. So if your videos are not getting good retention and you're not getting views, don't just think it's SEO. Don't just think it's description and keywords. You may need to take a real. I'm not looking at your content right now. We got to leave pretty soon, but you gotta look at your thumbnails. You got to look at three metrics: CTR, click through rate. Are people clicking? You got to look at your average view duration, and then your average percentage viewed, which basically is called watch time. How long are people sticking around? Are they watching over 50%, under 50%? If you've got a 15-minute video and they're watching 30% of that video needs to be 7 minutes. If you've got a 7-minute video and they're watching 48%, maybe that video needs to be 5 minutes. So those kind of things, Ron, I love your energy. You've got fantastic energy. I can feel it. You're going to crush it. I've said this before in previous rooms. Levi knows this. You got to kind of wear the clothes of YouTube for a while. You got to get dirty with it. You got to get wrinkly. You got to really wear the clothes of YouTube. You got to understand what works and what doesn't work. And the only way you understand that is by digging deep into your analytics, failing over and over, having videos that don't do well, because you actually learn more from the videos that don't perform well. And YouTube gives you all the data to help you understand. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that can help you interpret your analytical data. There's a channel in particular called YouTube Creators, and a channel called YouTube Insiders, Creators Insider, which will help you dig through your analytics. But if you know those three major metrics, CTR, average view duration, and average percentage viewed, which essentially equates to watch time, that's the ultimate metric. That's the ultimate metric, and it helps you, governs you on how to create better videos. I hope that helps, Ron.
Hugely. Thank you so much.
Hey, Nez, you got time for one more?
Absolutely. You know me, Levi. I'm here. I know we said an hour, and thank you so much for being sensitive to that. Let's do it.
Okay, well, I got a quick question then for Ron. Ron, are you putting shorts on the same channel as your long form content?
I am. Yeah. So I created everything. I think my content works really well for people that know me, that are followers, because I get feedback all the time from my target audience, business owners and executives. I think where I'm struggling the most on YouTube are strangers, right? So that's really where I have my tipping point where I want to push it over when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out real quick because I want to get to Dawn and then so we can finish up the room. But in my experience, and again, this is just in my experience, is that it's the whole reason we separated shorts on a different channel. I just believe it's a different audience. Now, we use the shorts channel to direct traffic to our main channel, but I think if you come out of the gate and you're publishing shorts with long form content, right now, because YouTube is putting an emphasis on shorts, and shorts have the ability to have many virality aspects or many viral aspects. What I mean by is go mini viral, and I say that by meaning it can gain 500 1,000 views within an hour. I think that's going to skew the long form content on your channel. So again, that we could probably do a whole room on top of that, but it's just something that I think if you continue to mix the two forms of content on your channel, that your long form content will probably take a lot longer. But at the same time, depending on how old your channel is, it could just be a matter of time as well before all that starts to take traction. So I'm just going to give you something like there to think about, and then I don't know. Just want to move unless you have a quick question on that.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. All right, Don. And what did I say? What did I say at the beginning, Chrissy? Did you remember whenever I said Justin would be here for about 5 minutes and then come back right at the last 2 minutes?
It is like you manifested it.
That room was amazing. Best content ever.
All right, Don. What's up, my man, Don? How you doing today, brother?
What's going on, Levi? I appreciate you. Hey, Justin, anytime on the stage you can be next to me, man. I appreciate it. Hey, Nez, thank you for being here. I had a quick question that I think when you were addressing Deborah, you kind of answered it for me. It was about the bad video, right? And you were saying that let your audience dictate if it's a bad video. So that was one of the questions I had. When you go out and you film these things for YouTube, but then you get back to the house to try to put it together and edit this thing. You're like, man, this video didn't turn out like I wanted it to. Do you still publish that, or do you go back to the drawing board? That's one. And if you can kind of touch on what you said about paying attention to your audience's comments. Like, so if they're saying like, hey, what are the great grocery stores? And for me, I'm from Houston and I have a channel in Katy, Texas. Uh, when they ask like, what are the great grocery stores in Katy, Texas? Or, hey, what are the barbecue places out there? How long do you wait to implement videos addressing those questions?
As soon as humanly possible. If your audience has that means that interest is hot, right? So if you're getting very recent comments about, what are the best grocery stores or what are the best resources in that specific area, et cetera, I mean, obviously you have to manage your time and you have, obligations and responsibilities, but I always try to hit that iron while it's hot and, try to serve my audience as fast and effectively as possible. And I love your energy too, Don. You got great energy. Gosh, the real estate industry, I'm so enamored with you guys because you guys have all the edge. You guys have all the advantage over most people entering YouTube because most people entering YouTube don't have that, knack and that consciousness of how important it is to come across as a human being and somebody who is relatable. So you guys just rock. Regarding your question about should I publish the video anyway, I'm almost inclined to say yes, but I do want to kind of give a caveat to that. If trust your instinct, you're successful because of your instincts, right? So if you think you can do a better job on the video, then by all means scrap the video, especially if it's something that did not involve a ton of production and a ton of time, et cetera, et cetera. But, I'm almost inclined to just say yes because as I said before, sometimes we think we know what the audience wants more than they do. And that video just might be, I can't tell you how many videos have gone viral of mine that I look at my wife just stumped and I go, I can't believe. I had one video about hosting a talk show that I think right now has almost 200,000 views on my main channel. I did that video in 2017. The audio was awful. The video quality was awful. The editing was awful, at least in my opinion. But I guess the information was really powerful and it hit home. And so, that's kind of an interesting balance to reconcile. Do I scrap a video or do I just publish it? I'm more inclined, 85% of me, Don, is saying just publish it and see what happens. If you get like this, crickets, then you've done two things. Number one, you learned that maybe your instinct was right about that. So for future videos, you can implement that. Or number two, you can examine that, let YouTube gather data for that, and figure out specifically why that video didn't perform. And you can utilize that data for future videos. So for me, it's like a win-win. And then the third thing is bonus, what if it pops? What if it pops? You never know. If you did what we talked about at the beginning of this room, if you dive deep into your audience's chest and you know what makes their heart pump, you know what electrifies these people, what gets them interested, what their challenges are, what their pain points, etc. I'm almost inclined to say just post that video, gather data, move on forward. There's always the next video. I hope that makes sense, Don.
It does, man. I appreciate you, Nez, because guess what? I posted it anyway, and so
There we go.
I'll
There we
see how
go.
it plays out. Yeah, man. I appreciate it, Levi. Thank you, man, for giving me the space, and Chrissy, I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, and can I just say one thing with that too? Just because I deal with all the editing all day long. Before you scrap it, send it out. Give it to an editor, somebody who's objectively looking at this and doesn't have any emotion tied to it, because a lot of times I cannot tell you how many people send me videos and say this was the worst video I've ever made, and after we send it back to them, they love it. And so you may think that it's crap. I mean, have you ever seen a music video before they actually do the editing? Have you ever seen one of the behind the scenes of one of those videos that they've done? They look terrible. I mean, sometimes the singer can't even sing. All the magic happens in editing. And that's kind of the beauty of, again, taking those tasks that you're not, they're not an RGA for you. Send it away, because if you're looking at it with the same eyes that you filmed it with, sometimes you think it's terrible. But you can do a lot on the other side of that, especially on the optimization side and everything that goes into just posting the video. If you're not dealing with that, you're dealing with somebody who's looking from, a different lens, you're probably going to get a better result than, if you did it yourself. And then you don't have to be so self-conscious about it. Because if your editing team comes back and says, hey, this is great, they didn't have a problem editing it, then it probably is a great video.
Awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate it.
Love it. Chrissy, could you explain what an RGA is?
Yeah, so a revenue generating activity. So something that's actually making you money at the end of the day, right? And editing is not the best use of your time. Levi says that all the time. And you should be giving out, those tasks, delegating those tasks to people who can do those tasks, that allows you to go out and do more of those RGAs, which is, making the videos and releasing the videos. That's going to actually bring in the leads for you. The editing side of things, that's just going to take you time that you don't need to spend.
Love it. Wow. Great room today, guys. All right. I've got to wrap it up myself as well. Want to be respectful of Professor Nez's time. Nez, would you like to close us out with any parting words of wisdom?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Levi. And really, this has been a thrill and an absolute honor to be here talking to such accomplished professionals. I really, really appreciate it. And just listen to Levi, guys. Follow Levi, follow Chrissy, follow all these great people who are talking about this day in and day out, because you're gonna maximize your business. You're gonna scale your business. You're gonna be able to live life on your own terms. And the last thing I just want to say is, um, really don't allow yourself to get in your own way, and just really don't allow gear, don't allow tools to be an impediment. what you have that you're listening to this conversation with is all you need, and just start executing. Just go. Just start doing it. I know it sounds really kind of like, it's almost like, you want me to do what? You want me to start a YouTube channel? It almost sounds like an enterprise endeavor, which it actually is, but it's really not. It's not as difficult and complicated as you might think. If you listen to people like Levi, you're going to get all the tools you need. You're going to avoid all the same mistakes that everybody made. So do it, execute, execute, execute. And I promise you, just like anything in life, once you get over the hump, that internal kind of doubter, if you will, once you get over that and you start seeing results, it's going to change your business forever. So thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this. Happy to answer any questions if you want to reach out to me. Happy to do that. Thank you again. This was awesome.
Thank you, Nez. And everyone, be sure to follow Nez here on Clubhouse, follow him on Instagram, and follow him on YouTube. He live streams every Sunday morning as well. So if you got time to jump in there, check out his live stream. He'll love to interact with you as well. So thank you again, Nez, for joining us today. Always a pleasure to talk to you, man. And thanks for bringing so much value and knowledge to the room. And with that, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching all for free, schedule a call at 5starstrategycall.com.